Welcome back. Iran and the 6 nations it's negotiating with have given themselves one more week to reach a deal. The talks on Iran's nuclear activities were meant to finish by the end of Tuesday, but all parties agreed to keep discussions alive when it was clear they would miss the deadline. The decision to extend that self-imposed deadline didn't come as a surprise. The goal for Iran in these talks is to get sanctions lifted. However, there are voices in Iran saying there are some things it should not concede to get this deal. Our senior international correspondent Fred Pleitgen joins us now from Tehran. And Fred, talks are continuing. What can they achieve in another week that they haven't been able to agree on so far?
Yeah, that's a good question because they have been talking for a very long time, Linda. I think at this point in time, it's down to language. It's down to getting the nuances in a way that the Iranian delegation can sell this deal here at home, and also that the Americans and the other powers that are negotiating on the other side can sell it to their publics and to their parliaments as well. And it seems as though they all believe that a deal could still be reached. Here at home, the Iranians certainly have a very difficult time convincing the hardliners that concessions should be made. We saw a demonstration of those hardliners yesterday. Here's what happened.
An anti-American song denouncing what they see as U.S. violence and imperialism. That's the tone of this rally at Tehran's Azadi Square. The song ends with the usual chants of "Death to America." But the event's main message is different: support for Iran's negotiating team in Vienna. Our negotiators are very honest and we believe in them, this woman says. But I'm not very optimistic that a deal can be reached because the other side's people are not honest to us. And this man adds, we're not optimistic and we don't trust the Americans. They've proved that we cannot trust them in the past 50 years. They've put up banners with thousands of signatures meant to drive home Iran's main demands: no inspection of Iranian nuclear sites and immediate sanctions relief. The man selected to read them out, the father of an assassinated Iranian nuclear scientist. We don't want a deal at any price, he says. It should preserve the independence, the dignity, and the rights of the Iranian people. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has laid out Iran's red lines in a recent speech, and they could prove to be deal breakers. But he also ordered all Iranians to back their country's delegation.
The vast majority of the people here at this rally are hardliners who don't want to make any sort of concessions to the United States, but even they say they support their team at the nuclear negotiations and hope for a beneficial outcome for Iran.
The monument at Azadi Square is meant to symbolize Iran's independence and its dignity, words the protesters here often use when referring to the deal they want with the West for their country's nuclear program.
And of course, Linda, it's so interesting to see here on the streets of Tehran. When you talk to people, they will tell you they certainly want a deal and they certainly want sanctions relief as fast as possible, Linda.
And Fred, we saw that US President has warned that he'll walk away from a deal if there's not a decent level of inspections. Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, is against intrusive inspections. However, he did use social media to praise the negotiators as trustworthy and committed, brave and faithful. Is this a sign that talks are going well?
Well, it's very difficult to read, and there certainly have been some mixed messages, I would say, from Ayatollah Khamenei. And one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that, of course, he faces pressure here at home as well. On the one hand, he tries to be in the line of the hardliners here, of course, want very little concessions to the United States. On the other hand, of course, he also sees that public opinion here certainly wants a deal and wants the sanctions relief as fast as possible. So it looks as though both sides believe that a deal is possible. Certainly, the inspection of Iranian military sites seems to be one of the biggest obstacles that are still in place. The Iranians, at least publicly, are saying they don't want any inspections at all. That doesn't mean that the two sides can't find some sort of language that perhaps would allow for some form of inspections that wouldn't officially be called that. But it certainly seems as though that is a big stumbling block still along the way, and probably one of the main reasons why these negotiations were extended by a week, Linda.
Yeah, still a few big sticking points. Fred Pleitgen on the phone from Iran. Thank you very much for joining us. And that does it for this edition of CNN Newsroom. I'm Lynda Kinkade. I'll be back with a check of the headlines in just a moment.